Welcome to Dive In with Matt and Joe.
We're here to continue the conversation that was started with our Sunday message here at Centerpoint Church. Sometimes we dig deeper into the biblical context. Other times we're telling some stories. We are excited that you're here to take this journey with us. I'm Matt.
And I'm Joe. Let's dive in.
Well, welcome everybody. Glad you're here with Dive In with Matt and Joe. And yet again, we have no Joe. Be assured, I have not done away with him. He will return at some point, most likely. But we get to have a great conversation today with Bethany Needham. Bethany is a friend. She and her husband, Andy, have done great ministry here in our church. They're part of Centerpoint Church and have been for a number of years. You might have experienced them in leading worship. Bethany is also just a great teacher, opens up God's word in special ways for people. So she's a great teacher and preacher. I've gotten to sit around campfire with Bethany and Andy and just talking about life and sharing life together. So she is somebody that I have deep respect for and have seen God at work in such beautiful and profound ways in the different arenas of her life and her family. So it's great to have you here today, Bethany. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. I didn't realize you considered me a friend. This is a big moment. I'm very...
I wasn't quite sure you were going to hear that.
I also, I'm a little concerned for Joe's well-being. He's been missing a couple of weeks, and now I've seen the church basement, and I feel like there's a lot of places a body could be hidden.
There are absolutely a lot of places a body could be hidden, and it's actually better if you just don't ask questions.
Oh, perfect.
So tell us about your family.
Sure. My family is made up of myself, my husband, Andy. We have been married this year will be 24 years, which is crazy because I'm like 12. So we have two kids. Josiah's 22, Mercy's 20. So we have a son that lives in Florida. He's engaged to be married December 5th.
That is a big deal.
Crazy. And then our daughter, Mercy, is 20, and she is going into her junior year at UNH as a math education major.
She's such a nerd.
Yeah, she's got to get that from Andy because numbers are hard. Numbers and words. I don't think there's a subject that I'm going to be getting my master's in anytime soon. And then I always mention my favorite child, Maple May.
We had to. I was going to ask if you didn't bring it up.
Yes. Maple May is our 6-month-old golden doodle who is just honestly the cutest thing. I would argue it. I mean, bring your dog. She will win. Yeah.
She has got cute for days.
She's not bright. I'll be honest. In 6 months, she's, hope she doesn't listen to this, but she's kind of dumb. She's a dumb dog. Well, but she's so cute.
She's going to get places because she's cute.
That's what I tell her. It's okay because you're cute. Yeah. So keep running into walls, girlfriend.
So there's actually a little bit of a trend because Haley was in and shared last week. They've got a doodle, Cinnamon, and so we had to talk about that last week. And then now you've got your doodle. I've got a doodle.
I mean,
so
doodles
welcome
are
to the Doodle In podcast.
Diving in with doodles.
That's right.
So,
oh boy, that would be a podcast.
Yeah. But no, so that's our family. We, I think 2019, moved to New Hampshire from Massachusetts. And so we started coming to Centerpoint shortly after and just have loved being a part. It was a little weird because we started coming and then, nobody came because the whole world shut down.
Like you showed up and big things happened.
Yeah, it got weird. So I always say, we joined the worship team. We got to be a part of that. But our worship team experience was singing to cameras in an empty sanctuary. It was quite an experience.
I feel like I've got a little internal twitch.
Did I trigger you right there?
Bring back those days.
Yeah. So it was actually the funny part for me was when we all started gathering again, we had been on camera for so long that people would come and be like, hey, it's almost like they didn't make the connection that they had seen us for all of that time, but we couldn't actually see any of them. So
right.
It took a while to kind of settle in and meet people, and it's been wonderful. So yeah, glad you let us stick around.
I am so glad you did stick around. So talk a little bit about your world. So you shared about your family. When we talk about Bethany's world, what does that include?
So A lot of crazy, probably. When Mercy, my youngest, went off to college, this was just a couple of years ago, I started considering what God might have for me in the workforce. When my kids were at home, I've done a lot of different jobs over the years, but never, like, my kids were home and around, I tried to be as present as I could be with them. And so a little over a year and a half ago, God opened a door I didn't know existed before he opened it, which was with a place called Capital Recovery Health. And so for the last year and a half, a big part of my world has actually been working at a PHP, which stands for Partial Hospitalization Program. It's a center where people go for drug and alcohol treatment, basically. So we work with people in recovery in Boscawen, New Hampshire, is where our center is located. And so that's kind of a big part. That's my full-time job right now, Monday to Friday, sometimes weekend stuff. I'm doing that.
It's not a neat and tidy, contained.
It's not. No. I work now. My official title is Director of Operations, which I joke when people are like, well, what does that mean? I was like, it means if it needs to be done, then I need to do it. Like, that's what you do. So yeah, so I do that for work, but I also get the opportunity with Andy to travel at different points. Usually over the weekend, we get to help and serve in different churches, including our own, whether it's leading worship or speaking. It's been a really cool, this is sort of a new thing for us in the last few years to get to serve like that together. We love to lead worship together. Sometimes we'll be at a church and he'll be preaching and I get to be the cheer squad. Sometimes I'm speaking and he's cheering, or we do a lot of team teaching, which is really fun. Doing marriage conferences, all kinds of stuff. So that's kind of a little bit of, I guess, a side hustle for us. I don't know if that's an appropriate term, but
yeah, but it's not your main gig, but it's an expression of who you guys are.
Yes. Yeah. So we were doing a podcast together for a while, a marriage podcast. And so that's been fun. We've been in a season recently between work and everything else that we haven't had time to record. So it's funny sitting here. I was like, man, I haven't sat and recorded a podcast in quite a while. But that's a big part of my life for fun. Part of my job in the recovery world introduced me to another world I didn't know existed, which was powerlifting. And so for fun, because why not?
Powerlifting, sometimes like when I've got a really big Diet Coke, that's a power lift. Are you talking about something different?
Yeah, no, that's actually exactly what I'm talking about.
What is powerlifting?
So for those who, it often gets confused with bodybuilding. So I do like to clarify with people, this is not bikinis and spray tans. This is barbells and weights. So essentially powerlifting.
We're doing the real work. It's not just for the gun show.
The other one is real work, but I don't need to be doing it. You're welcome, world. What I do is I just like to pick things up and put them down. So I get to compete there's 3 main lifts. So I do squats, bench press, and deadlift, essentially. So I do a lot of training to build my strength, to be able to lift more, to do that. So that's kind of a fun hobby for me, is I get to work out at a gym in Concord. Iron Helix, it's a nonprofit that allows people in recovery, or myself who work in recovery, to have this space to work out, to work on my physical health, and which for me impacts everything. And it's not a membership gym. It's like a free gym that people can utilize. So it's very cool.
That is really cool. And I love how they're acknowledging we're whole people.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
And you know this, but here's this gym going, we're whole people. If we're on the road to healing and recovery, this isn't just an inner world thing. This is my embodied self.
Absolutely.
That's a part of it.
Yeah. It's been huge for me. Like, I work in recovery, but I've told Connor is the owner of Iron Helix, and we've had conversations where I'm like, being a part of that has been a huge help to my own mental health and physical health, and again, spiritual health, all of it, like just having that movement. And I personally really enjoy it. So it's also, I think it's important to have fun. And so I have fun doing it.
Do you?
I really do.
What's fun about it?
There is something, it's hard to describe until you've done it, but when you step up on a platform and deadlifting, which is essentially a lift where you're leaning down to pick up a barbell and you have to stand up like you're pulling it from the ground. When you are able to lift a weight you never thought you could lift, like there's the adrenaline of the moment and you're there on the platform, it's just all of the endorphins and everything is this incredible moment. And in powerlifting, it's one of the reasons I love it is it doesn't feel like everybody against each other. You're just trying to get your own personal record. So everybody's cheering everybody on. So like you lift a big weight, it's not, another person be like, oh, they beat me. They're out there like, yeah.
Okay.
It's very super community. Like the last competition I did, I got to stand alongside and cheer on. There was a 9-year-old girl, and then there was a 76-year-old woman. And they were both lifting and doing their thing. And you get to know them as the day goes on.
Sure.
Like talk about a mission field and like bringing Jesus into every place you go. Like you get to spend the day with them. And I was like, the little 9-year-old girl, it was cute. She started following me around as the day, like it was like that mama bear kind of thing. But she'd get up there and this little girl, like picking up those big weights and like, just like cheering her on. And it's super fun. So
I can picture it.
Yeah. So I really, really, really enjoy it. It's not just for fitness. It actually is fun. So
Yeah. And it sounds highly communal, what you're just describing. And so this isn't the gym where you go in, you kind of bust out your reps with your Princess Leia earphones and blinders on and kind of don't talk to anybody, maybe get a few of your selfie shots or whatever, and then leave. It sounds like this is a thing where we're working it out together.
Yeah. If you can imagine completely opposite of what you just described at my gym, there are no mirrors. Nobody's checking out. There's no like selfies
This is not for
happening.
the Instagram posts and all that kind of stuff.
Some of the equipment, like the squat machines that we use or whatnot, it actually requires there to be other people there to help you. And so you're not doing things by yourself. And we don't wear earbuds or headphones ever. There's a stereo that if you want to play music, but you're intentionally all together. You're helping rack one another's weights. You're spotting, you're running the mono. Like everybody kind of plays a part and comes alongside. And there's just, it's an incredible like communal. It's very opposite of what you picture when you go into like a commercial gym. So
Who taught you how to lift?
Connor.
Okay.
Yeah. So I knew a little bit, but definitely didn't understand a lot of. So Connor he was the one that approached me about competing. He taught me most of what I know about those lifts. I did end up getting another coach to help program, but he was he's gone to every meet that I've competed. They call them handlers. Like he's there when I'm squatting, he will at a competition, he'll come in and spot and like helps me pick what I'm going to lift. And so, he's been a huge part of, not just for me, he's done this for a lot of people. So, because, you do need a coach. You don't just go in there and guess. Like you definitely, for safety reasons, you want someone that knows what they're doing. And he definitely knows what he's doing. I'm still learning, but...
Well, and this isn't necessarily our conversation today, but I hear you talk about that. And again, around the campfire and conversations, I've heard you talk about this. It's like, that's kind of what the church, like there's a lot of parallels between what we're doing here, where we're not lifting physical weight per se, but we're carrying weight and what it means to be a disciple and how we grow, and there's struggle in our growth, but we need people and we cheer for people. We don't compete for people. So it just seems like there's a lot of parallels I'd like to pick your brain on more specifically.
I have always said that fitness, in terms of you want good sermon illustrations and connection to our spiritual journey, there's like so many parallels between the two in terms of resistance building strength, and that just the science of we have to break down our muscles in order to build up, and like just there's some pretty cool.
Yeah, it tracks, doesn't
I'll
it?
throw you some sermon stuff.
No
problem.
Excellent. So as you look at the arenas of your world, your home, your work, your gym, your neighborhood, and that, one of the things that I know about you is you're very intentional. So you are mindful of where is God doing stuff in this space. And I've not observed you to be one that forces it, but rather just jumps in to go with it. As you think about your world, what are some ways that you have seen God touch down in those spaces? Maybe that were surprises to you?
Yeah. Honestly, probably more than we would have time to go into, but I mentioned that I work in recovery. I've had a lot of different opportunities in the job that I have in conversations with clients as well as coworkers. You're right. I'm not the person that's going to necessarily walk in somewhere and hand you a tract or be like, hey, real quick, let's go through the Romans road.
Yeah.
Like, let's go. I really personally have a conviction that for a long time, I feel like God has laid this on my heart, that in the spaces that I go, that the reason that I'm in these places is to make God known. And the way that I do that before often I get to speak about it is how I reflect who he is to the people around me. And so I try to think about that in terms of when we talked about earlier what I did this morning, the time in the morning that I spent in God's word is, I always call it sort of the anchoring for me of like, I need to anchor in to one, who is God? God, what do you have for me today? That was a big part of my prayer today is, I got a lot going on at work and it can be easy to start thinking like 3 days, 4 days down the line. I was like, okay, God, this is the day that we're in. And the people that come in front of me, everything in front of me today is not by accident. And so for me, it's been, how do I reflect God, in meaning like the things that I see in Jesus's life, how do I live that out for the people in front of me? And I feel like the bar has never been lower in this world to live that out. Like, just for me, the responses that I've gotten and the opportunities to actually talk about my faith have come in the simplest of ways by just smiling at people. Like, I have lost track of the amount of times I've actually gotten to share the gospel with someone because they've come to me and asked, okay, you just have this smile and I can't, like, what is it? Like, there's just something. And I was like, it's wild to me that something as simple as smiling at somebody. And I think for me, one of the things I've observed is just when you notice somebody, like, people feel like they're unseen right now. There's sort of this weird, I don't know if it's weird, but like a loneliness in our world. And so for me to make eye contact and just smile and say good morning or ask has actually, like, it's been that simple in some moments where I've actually had the chance to talk about Jesus and my relationship with him. Sometimes it's actually been, it seems like the opposite, but in my brokenness, it's been when I've had a hard time in being honest about that. And I remember more than one conversation with coworkers where we've walked through some loss and different things, and me kind of sharing that, and coworkers being like, listen, not that I wish hard things upon you, but this actually makes you feel more relatable to me, like that you also, because they know that I am a Christian. And so I think sometimes there's this sense of like, okay, well, it's not all unicorns and rainbows. Like, that's not life. And so for me to actually walk out suffering in front of people has also been sort of an open door to share. And so I think,
can we?
Yeah.
And I don't want, obviously, you to share what you can't share, but can you share with us a specific conversation or time that happened?
In terms of with a coworker?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a coworker that I'm fairly good friends with. We've hung out like casually at different times. And this specific coworker had actually made comments at different moments of like, do you ever do anything wrong? Like, there's sort of that, they put you on a pedestal or whatever it is. And there was a specific day at work where I was having a rough go. We had some hard things happen at home, and I was kind of wrestling through. And I remember sharing that with her in terms of, hey, we got this stuff going on. It's been really challenging. Like, I'm wrestling with a lot of my own like anxiety, like I'm wrestling, just trying not to cry today, like just all of these things. And she was sort of listening, and she's like, I guess in some ways it's just nice to know that you're human, like that you have feelings, like that that you're not always smiling. And so there was sort of this breakthrough in some ways for us where ever since that conversation, we've actually been able to have more conversations, like at a deeper, like it almost brings you to sort of that deeper level. I think of another one. This is a little different than that, but I actually walked into a coworker's office, and again, just observing, just seeing someone, and I could just observe that they seemed like they were having a difficult time. And so things are crazy. It always is in recovery, but I was like, it'll take 3 minutes. I closed the door. I was like, hey, I just want to know, like, is there anything I can do? Are you okay? And they acknowledged basically like, I got some stuff going on. I'm trying to like get my head in the game, but I'm wrestling. And I felt that sort of Holy Spirit nudge. And I was like, would you be okay if I prayed for you? Like if I just took a moment and prayed for you? And again, people can say no, but this coworker was like, yes, please. And we had these, like, it couldn't have been more than 5 minutes, but I just knelt down next to her office chair and put my hands on her, and I just began to pray, and she began to cry. And we just had this kind of really powerful God moment of like, you just never know. And that's been like, that wasn't just a one off. Like I've had sort of these opportunities at different points, sometimes with clients. I had a client that I walked through our entryway one day, and there was a client sitting on the couch. And to be honest, normally I've always got places to go, and just felt that like nudge of God being like, just hold up.
Yeah.
And I stopped and I looked down at the client. I was like, hey, is everything okay? And they looked up, and I don't even remember exactly what they said, but I remembered it giving that same sort of like, just stop for a second and listen. And they mentioned a couple of things that they were feeling anxious about. And again, that same, and I was like, would you mind if I just prayed for you? And they're like, man, I would love that. They're like, wow, please. And so like stopping, this is a client I'd never, again, they could absolutely say, no, I wasn't like, I'm going to, this is, and it was this really cool. And for the rest of the time that client was there, we got to have multiple conversations of they're like, I didn't know, it was so cool to know that you pray and that you, and so at one point got to give them they asked for a Bible. So I got them a Bible and got to have like, again, more faith conversations with them. But I feel like a lot of them start with sort of being present and aware and just noticing the people around me. And like, I guess in some ways, acknowledging those, I call them God nudges, like where he's just like, hey.
Well, and Bethany, that's the ball game, right? So you talk about being present, aware, and being sensitive to little spiritual nudges.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not that there's a banner unfurled with this obvious, here's what you do next, Bethany, do this thing, say this. But it's just this internal nudging, prompting.
Yeah.
You've called it God nudge. How do you recognize that? What is?
I had a feeling you were going to ask me that too. So honestly, I struggle. There are times when I feel crazy, or I'm like, is this just me, or is this God?
Yeah.
Is this me, or is this God? And the longer, or maybe the older that I get, the more I realize when I'm having a nudge to notice someone or care about someone or listen to someone or even offer prayer to someone, I have 0% experience that being the devil nudging. And also 0% that being my own flesh. Like in general, those nudges that are actually about slowing down and paying attention and caring for someone, showing concern, like my self-centered self is not going out of their way trying to make up these opportunities. Like across the board, I feel like when I actually stop to trust it, and then it's not this like fireworks thing. It really is for me. It's this sort of catch in my gut that it just stops me long enough that I have a chance to respond.
Yeah.
And there's been moments when I haven't, and I've never been happy that I didn't do it. Like it's always one of those things that sits with me where I'm like, oh, I just wonder if I should have. And again, I think God is much bigger than when I miss those things, and he can do his work regardless.
Sure. So we don't have to carry shame for a missed moment, but you recognize, oh, I think that was a moment that I walked right by.
Well, I always say, I'm like, first of all, God's a gentleman. He's not going to force you to do something, but he is so gracious and kind to invite us in moments to actually get to witness and be a part of something he's going to do. So like, he's going to show up for that client, whether I stop and do this thing, but I don't want to miss the opportunity to actually see it and be there. And he's inviting me into that. And so, no, there's no shame, but honestly, sometimes it's just the bummer of I missed out. Like,
so what, when you don't miss out and you step into that moment, what does that do for you? Like what happens to you when you close the door for your coworker and you ask the question, you ask the next question, and you say, can I pray for you? And you talk about praying, and like, what happens in you when you say yes to that prompting?
Oh, it fires up my own faith.
Okay.
Like I don't know of a scenario where I can sit and clearly see God do something and not feel humbled to be like, wow, I got to be here for this, but also in awe of, sometimes I think I forget that God is working in a million ways all around me. And there are moments like those where I actually get to see it, like that I don't miss it. And yeah, those are like, I get probably too excited, but it pumps me up. And sometimes like I've had moments where it's very emotional for me. Like it just like an overwhelming sense of like God's presence. His presence is always with us because it's literally, he lives inside of me. But when you have, I call it like the difference between knowing God is present and feeling God is present.
Yeah.
And those moments for me are like, I get to feel his presence. And I'm even talking about it, like I'll get goosebumps and I'm like, man, this is awesome.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I like how Joe will talk about, like hot spots of the kingdom, kind of touching down. Like the kingdom's all around us.
Yeah.
But there are these moments of our awareness and of God's presence with us that become these hot spots.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the more you dial in to seeing it, the more aware, the more the prompting, we're attentive to the promptings. And then we get to choose what we're going to do with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I also think that one of the things where, at least for me, where I often miss it is that I'm just going so fast that it's like when you're driving somewhere, I can drive from here to work and I couldn't tell you much about the drive, like it's pretty or whatever. But if I had to walk that, and I'd have a lot more details about every house or different specific landmarks or whatever it was, because I actually had to take it slow and notice. And I think a lot of times in my day, I have to take moments where I'm like, I'll practice box breathing, like to slow down my mind and my heart and my body, especially in the environment that I work in. It is like just crisis and chaos a lot. And I don't have to ride that. Like there are moments where I'm like, God, I want to slow down because I want to notice the places that you're in. And I don't want to get where I'm going so fast that I just don't see it. And so
that's real.
Yeah. Slowing down and taking note because he's doing it.
He is doing it. He is doing it. The question is whether or not we get to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So I just want to reiterate too, correct me if I'm wrong, but the recovery organization that you're a part of is not an overtly Christ-based program.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
So when you're talking about paying attention to these moments and talking with clients, this is not an overtly Christian organization where those things would just be expected.
Oh yeah. No.
Yeah.
It, a good example I have is actually, Andy and I had the opportunity to sing a couple of songs at a talent show there.
Okay.
We do it called Expressive Arts on Friday. And it is a mix, like it's expressive arts. It's whatever they decide to do as a performance. So it probably wouldn't go well in a church, some of the things, but it's kind of these clients' opportunity to show creativity and all these different things. And a coworker had invited us like, oh, you guys do music. You should come do it. And I was like, I don't think what we do is what you think we do. And so for her birthday, I was like, you know what, for your birthday, we'll come and do like 2 songs. And so we got there, and I warned Andy, fair warning to Andy, because he works in the church world. He doesn't work in the recovery world. So I was like, I don't know how this is going to go over. Like, it could be a rough crowd. And so we went in the room, he had his guitar, and I just let the clients know. I was like, hey, so for this coworker's birthday, we told her we'd come do a couple songs. I said, but we can't be what we're not. Like, and I was like, honestly, a lot of you know I've shared that I'm a believer, like I follow Jesus. What you may not know is part of what I get to do is music with my husband a lot on the weekends. And so we would just like this moment to kind of take you to church. And I remember one of the gentlemen who was just rougher in appearance. He's got whatever. And he's like, yeah, like he's like cheering from the side. And it was but we ended up doing these 2 songs, and you could have heard a pin drop. It just like in that room. And then I remember opening my eyes at the end of the second song and just seeing tears, clients and some of the staff had come in and just them crying. And again, this was like for some of them, something very outside of what they've experienced. It's not a Christian, this is not a church organization. But we wrapped up, and Andy's packing up his guitar, and one of the young men comes up and he was like, listen, I'm not a church goer. He's like, I go to nature, to connect with God. He's like, but I just want you to know, he's like, that's the best bleeping church music I have ever heard. I was
Put that on a pull quote on the church website.
Andy's like, I will put that on my website. Thank you. But it was like this cool moment of, it's not that environment, but in terms of, we sometimes think that anybody outside the church is naturally just super resistant to faith, and it's all like that. It's all of it is this battle. And I was thinking in that moment, like, this was this beautiful intersection of just worship music and people, God just breaking in and moving. And it was a cool thing to see. And again, it's not because we were at a church or a Bible study. It was at a talent show in a recovery clinic. So you never know.
Well, that's just the thing. You never do know. And you and Andy were bringing your authentic selves.
Yeah.
Because you're saying, we're going to share something of us with you. And a part of us is our faith in Jesus.
Yeah.
We're going to offer that to you freely. So you're going to give them good gift. Because it's not about you weren't playing to an environment or trying to make something it wasn't. And then whether it was the guy shout out, heck yeah, and or the guy afterwards, they're just bringing their authentic self.
Yeah.
They're just showing up who they are. And I think when we create the expectation, it's not even like we create the space, but we just settle into the space wherever we're at, when all I can do is just bring who I am. And sometimes that's in celebration and joy and light, and sometimes that is in sorrow and suffering, but I'm going to bring who I am into this place. I'm going to invite you to just be who you are in this place.
Yes.
And we're going to see what God's going to do in this. Because we don't have to control it. We don't have to contrive it. It's not manufactured or coerced. It's just allowing these pieces to come together. I'm thinking about as the beach and the sea kind of crash into each other. Both are being what they are, but it's this spectacular, beautiful dance of the foam and splashing and all that. And I think we get to be a part of what God does in his good, beautiful, good, flourishing world.
that's also like, to me, that's the power behind the gospel that we teach, is that God literally sent his son to us. Like, he met us where we're at. It wasn't a get your act together and come find me, I'll meet you on the other side.
Right.
It was you can't get your act together, I'm coming to you. Like, it's this. And I think about us as believers and our belief, like, that if we are followers of Jesus, that his Holy Spirit residing in us, is we are literally that same conduit. We're bringing it to people where they're at. And that, for me in my job, that's what this is. I'm not asking them to be something they're not. Part of why I love working in a place that's not necessarily, like you say, a religious organization, is that people aren't deterred by that. Like, they're there for something, and Jesus is going to meet them there.
That's exactly right.
And so I just think that's such the beauty. Like, we get to live out the beauty of the gospel every single day. And I've actually said this to people in conversation, where I'm like, I know that God loves you so much, and that he's wants to meet you, because I'm standing here, like, and he's living in me. So literally, he sent me. I'm here. I was like, that's the message.
That's the proof.
Yeah, like, here I am. And I was like, because he loves you so much that you thought, whatever it was, that you've gone so far. I've talked to clients who are like, I've strayed so far. And I was like, you could have run miles and miles. And I was like, but here we are. I was like, and God has me in this place with, like, I have no business working in recovery. I don't have this, I don't have degrees or anything else, but God knew. And I was like, and here I am sitting before you, just if for no other reason, for you to know that God sees you and he loves you right where you're at. And to me, that's it. Like, that's, in as simply as I can state it, what all in every job that we do, that's what it's about.
That is so true. Bethany, thank you. This is just spectacular. And to see your face light, even as you're sharing these stories, it's just a beautiful thing. So thank you for sharing you and talking about the stuff that Jesus does.
Yeah.
And I know we just barely scratched the surface. You are a part of this story. This isn't just Matt. This isn't just Bethany. This isn't just a select few. If you're in Christ, this is actually what you're invited into, because he is all over the place, drawing people to himself, revealing his peace, his love, his joy to those who are hungry and thirsty for life. And where you go, God is already at work there. And the invitation to you is to trust him, to notice, to see, and to join him there. And as you do, he will blow your mind. So Bethany, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Have a great day, everybody. Go look, notice, see, and see what God will do. Bye.